Welcome to the English class, my dear all the students of 2nd PUC. Today, I am going to teach you a poem to the foot from its child. To the foot from its child, written by Pablo Neruda. Now, before I start to talk about Pablo Neruda, I want to ask you a few questions. Always, we attribute certain parts of our body to certain qualities. For example, when we talk about heart, we talk about emotions. A good-hearted person, have you seen the heart out? No. But still, a good-hearted person means what? That means he is having good emotions. He has concern for all the people and he likes to talk to people. He is a generous person. He has sympathy in him. So likewise, the heart goes with emotions. And when we talk about head, he is having a very good head. That means what? Outer hair is good. And his hairstyle is good. Is it like that? No, not at all. He is having a good head means he has a very good reasoning capacity. His reasoning capacity is good. He is intelligent, is brilliant, isn't it? So that is what we attribute to. In the same way, when we talk about foot means we have feet, isn't it? Now, when we talk about feet, or a foot, what does it tell us? Many a times you might have heard people speaking, I have stood on my feet. Yeah, one who is usually all people stand on the feet. Is there anything special? Nothing. But when we tell stand on one's own feet, when we tell, that means he is not dependent on anybody, he is independent, he knows to take his own decisions, he knows to have his own earnings, he has built up his own future. For such people, we say he stands on his own feet. I want to stand on my own feet and I want to show my parents that I am also a successful person. When you say, that means it is a proud feeling. Now, with this brief background, let us study, let us know To the Foot from its Child, written by Pablo Neruda. Pablo Neruda was born in 1904. He lived up till 1973. Is the pen name. That means he is a pen name, because when he used to write, he used to write Pablo Neruda, pen name. And later, we can say his legal name of the Chilean poet. He is a Chilean poet. Chile. He is belonging to Chile. Chilean poet, a diplomat and a politician, Ricardo Eliezer Neftali Reis Basalto, his full name. Ricardo Eliezer Neftali Reis Basalto. Very big name, isn't it? So, best thing that he has kept it a pen name, Pablo Neruda. It is very easy for us to pronounce, isn't it? In 1971, Neruda won the Nobel Prize for Literature. Just imagine, can any person get easily Nobel Prize? If he has got a Nobel Prize, that means his contribution in the field of literature, it is very vast. Do you remember one more great personality of India who got Nobel Prize for his literary works, who wrote our Janaganamana? Rabindranath Tagore? Yes. So, likewise, our today's poet, Pablo Neruda, he got Nobel Prize for Literature. Neruda became known as a poet while still he was a teenager. See, in the institutions, we usually encourage the children to write something, some articles. Usually we have in every school, there will be a notice board for children where they can write, that kids corner, where children can write their articles, they can compose some poems, they can draw something, and likewise, we encourage the children. Even in the colleges, we have our own notice boards where students can display their talents. And all the PUC students, even when you go to degree or your graduation, you have to utilize these opportunities in your life. Because look at this, Neruda, he got the Nobel Prize for Literature and he started when he was a teenager. He wrote in a variety of styles, including surrealist poems, historical epics, overtly political manifestos, a prose autobiography, and erotically charged love poems, such as the ones in his 1924 collections, 20 love poems and a song of despair. That means he has written 20 love poems and a song of despair. Now, this Neruda's poetry is renowned for its fantastic imagery and the use of great language, the mastery on use of language. He attempted to express in art and literature the workings of unconscious mind. He talks about or he expresses about the unconscious mind. That means unconscious mind, you just know. Some things we know unconsciously, which you cannot do when in the conscience. When we are knowing all things, now for example, now I am teaching, I know it. But unconsciously, we do certain things that naturally we do by our everyday speed and everything. So, about that, he expresses in this unconscious mind. And to synthesize these workings with the conscious mind, he synthesizes unconscious activities with the conscious mind. A surrealist allows his work to develop non-legally rather than illogically, so that the results represent operations of the unconscious. All the results, whatever the results represent, the operations of the unconscious. Unconscious mind that works and it represents the results. Now, every person, whatever he does, is unconscious mind, it influences the man. That is what he is telling. Now, the surrealism was an attempt to tap into the unconscious mind to produce a dream-like work of art that explored truth that was surreal or beyond reality. What is surreal? Beyond reality. That means just not reality, beyond reality. That is what surreal we say. Neruda hopes to break free of the traditional thinking and make people see the world the way he did. That means he wants the whole world to see the world in the same way he did, through a part of the mind that is normally non-accessible. The part of the mind that is non-accessible. Now, Neruda believes that our most intense experience of impermanence is not death. It's clear. Now, Neruda, what does he believe? He believes that our most intense experience of impermanence is not death, that we are not permanent, we are going to die. This is not the most intense experience, but our own isolation. A person who is isolated, he himself feels that he is, whether he is alive or dead, it is same. So, isolation is the greatest punishment, I can say, among the living. A living being, if isolated, that is the greatest punishment. It is like just like death. And I am sure that what I tell and what the poet says, you too accept it, isn't it? Now, it is probably this idea that gets reflected in the poem, to the foot from its child, according to Neruda. It was through metaphor, not rational analysis and arrangement, that the mysteries of the world could be revealed. That means all the mysteries of the world could be revealed through the metaphors. Now, let us analyze the poem. Pablo Neruda used foot as a metaphor for trials and afflictions. All the difficulties, okay, all the afflictions, tribulations, tribulation means all tremendous difficulties, different varieties of problems because of that. Human problems. That means in human life, lot of problems come. Trials and afflictions, tribulations, these occur, and in the life, his life and death, his vision and realities in this poetic work. He has put all these things, he has put in this poetic work, to the foot from its child. The child's foot. Have you seen any small kid which is born, its foot, have you seen? Some children, some people have the habit of just holding the feet of the child like this and touching this way. Have you seen that? Some elderly people do that. How are you? They will hold the child like this, lift. After that, small children, when you lift, can you lift just like that? You have to give a hand. The palm should be behind the head. Why? There is no strength, because the neck part is not so strong, so it cannot erectly keep. So at that time we have to give support, and after they hold, this way one hand will be here, one hand will be to the head here, and after they lift, sometimes they do all the pampering and other things, and sometimes some people have the habit of keeping the feet like this just because it is the part very nimble, like humble, very nimble fingers, the tiny fingers of the child's foot is so cute, and that innocent look of the child, that innocent feet, because where the feet have not touched the ground and they are very, very tender, very tender. So, the color of the feet also, how it looks, a child's feet or foot, the color is so pinky, apple-like, isn't it? So, this is very clearly the poet has explained, the child's foot is not an apple, though it looks like the pink color, it is not an apple. Though child is just fluttering the feet this way, it is not a butterfly. It is not a butterfly. So, though it is moving the feet this way, it is not butterfly, or though it is pink, it is not an apple. But as the child grows up to face the difficulties of life, you understood when the difficulty starts. Once the child slowly, first the kid rolls down, then drags its body part forward, then slowly moving back, and it starts sitting, and from there slowly tries to move, using the feet. You know that this child moves and finally it tries to stand up holding the things, and at the time several times the child falls. You know, these are all the movements of the child, and finally it gets habituated to hold and stand. Finally it starts taking the steps forward, and at the time many parents they'll call the child, come on, come friend, come here, and they will call the child, and the child slowly, steadily, never looks at the feet, looks at the mother or father, okay, or brother, sister. Confidently they fill the child with confidence, and with that confidence the child moves. And at that time parents keep the path very clear. When the child takes the first step, the parents keep the path of the child clear, so that the child will not get any hurdles or difficulties. And finally in that clear ground, child puts forward, steps forward, and moves towards parents with confidence. But as it becomes habituated, later on what happens? The child has to walk everywhere. At that time parents don't stand there. Finally the child faces the difficulties, because some places it is not clear and the child may tread something, keep the feet on something, sharp things, or there are some hurdles while walking. The floor is not equal. Some places little bit elevated land may be there. Suddenly it may hit the toe against it and tumble down and fall. At the time the child will scream or weep. These all things we are going to see, because child faces difficulties. In the same way, the child, as the child grows up, or the foot, what you say, child grows up, it faces the difficulties of life. Like to walk on pierces. Pierces means some sharp things, pierce things. Now sometimes there may be a glass piece and it just cuts the tender foot and blood just oozes out, and you too feel so sad, and child, by seeing blood and everything, child screams, weeps, and never gets consoled, and parents lift the child and console, and these are part of life. This is part of life. And finally there may be tears and bits of glasses, there may be stones, sometimes there may be a ladder, and child thinks that climbing is good and it holds and climbs. But when you keep the feet on the ladder, is it a pleasant experience? That ladder hurts, because it presses the foot this way and it cannot stand for a long time. It hurts the child. Ladder and trail in the dirt. When the child walks on the dirt, suddenly slips, loses the grip, and its feet may go here and there and get damaged sometimes. As a foot is just a foot. Foot is always just a foot. So it has to face all these difficulties. It can neither fly. Now this having the foot, can we fly? No. It can neither fly like a butterfly, nor can it grow up like a fruit on a branch. Not like a fruit on the branch. The foot is just like a foot. Why does it tell like that? See, when the child is born, the foot may look pink, and it may look like an apple color, but it is not an apple. The child may flutter the feet here and there like a butterfly, but it is not butterfly. Finally it cannot fly like a butterfly. Foot cannot go and fly. It has to walk. When it walks, it pains a lot. Whole body pressure goes there. It is not an easy thing for the child. So difficulties, it has to face the difficulties. That is what Pablo Neruda tells us in this poem. As the foot of the child is injured and hurt while walking and doing daily work, he begins to wear a shoe. Now finally, why I am wearing a shoe, isn't it? Now why I am wearing this shoe? Because I want the feet to be comfortable. It should not get hurt. It should not fall on the dirt. Isn't it? Thorns and thistles are there everywhere. Stony ground. So much dirt everywhere. There may be glass pieces. In order to protect my feet, my foot, I am wearing these shoes. So, in the same manner, we make our children also wear shoes. We make the children wear shoes, and the child begins to wear a shoe, and the foot feels humiliated and is doomed to live in a shoe. That means it is like a doom to live in that shoe. That means it is a fate of the foot to live in the shoes. And just like a dead prisoner, a prisoner who is put in the dark room, he is punished, he is not supposed to come out for years together or months together. That means it is a difficult time for that prisoner. In the same way, foot, when it was independent in the beginning, now because of thorns and thistles, glass pieces, or other occasions when the foot got hurt, in order to protect that, this foot is put in a shoe, and in the shoe, it is like a dead prisoner. The child soon began to understand the world itself. By this, the child comes to know what the world is. In the silence, inside the shoe, if it is kept open, now if our foot is not in the shoe, we can move the fingers anyhow. We can touch the fingers of the feet. But when it is inside, it is kept inside silent, but in the darkness of the shoe. It is kept inside the darkness of the shoe. Shoe covers the whole foot this way completely. It is just shrugged, hidden. It is hidden there. Since the foot is in the darkness of the shoe, it can feel just like a binding human. A human being is there, completely bound, packed. Like that, the foot feels there. It can only imagine the challenges of a man. It can only imagine the challenges of man that man has to face in this difficult world to survive. That means it is a struggle of human being to survive in this world with the difficulties and all the troubles and trials. The other foot can also not be seen on the leg of the man. That means if only one foot can be put and come, one foot you are wearing shoe, can you come out? It becomes upside down. One foot for both. If you are wearing shoes, you have to wear, for balance, you have to wear shoes for both foot. Okay, both that feet should be covered, and at the time only you will be having the balance. Otherwise, it will be imbalance. Then age starts to catch up. Slowly, when the child grows up, age starts to catch up. That is, a young man grows up and then grows old and then weak. That means the child from the cradle to the ground, from the ground starts moving, grows up in age, becomes a teenager, adult, grown up, and grows up. and grows up till where? Grows up old. And when you become old, you become weak. You become weak and weak. Since the foot is, the grows up, when the old man grows up, becomes old, finally the foot is the foot in the shoes, that the darkness, that means inside the shoe, darkness, the foot is kept there, and in that darkness always grows old. Finally it grows, the foot inside the shoes grows old and old. The delicate nails, now the feet, there are nails, isn't it? Those nails of the foot of the baby grows sharper and more opaque. They grow sharper and even opaque. They don't, without shape and all. Opaque. As rigid as a bell. They become rigid because inside stiff. They become stiff. The smaller toes are crowded. Now, when you walk without shoes, your feet, when you keep on the floor, just it is spreaded. Fingers of the foot is spreaded. But when you want to put the shoe, can you spread the fingers and put the shoe? Wear shoes? No, you have to crowd it, shrugged like this together, just brought together, pulled to a particular place and shrugged like this, and your foot is kept inside, crowded. It is just crowded, and sometimes length also, little bit, feel like cutting the length, and they start looking like reptile. It looks like how? Reptile. Snakes and other things, it looks like a reptile or one reptile, crocodile or something like that, without eyes. At least these crocodiles have. You just imagine, shoes front is just like this. Here there is no eye, but only face is there of reptile. Earlier, as the young foot grows older, it becomes rough, and it is hidden by the scars of the wounds. Now, for example, in the childhood, several times the child might have run here and there, hit against certain hurdles, obstacles, and got hurt, wounded, or sometimes glass pieces might have hurt the foot, and all those wound scars, where they are now? Inside, hidden inside the shoes, isn't it? Wounds that have taken place in this world during the hardships of man. During the hardships of man, all these wounds are there. They are inside, kept inside. And in human life, all our hurdles and everything we keep inside, isn't it? Outer we may put a good shoe. Good shoe means there for the foot we have put a good shoe. For our whole body we put another cover here like this, so that all the difficulties are inside only. No one comes to know. No one comes to know our difficulties. Although it's aged now the foot, already it is aged now, the foot continues to walk blindly and sleeplessly. Continuously walks sleeplessly. Whenever we are busy, it will also be busy, moves and moves. It proceeds to walk up and down. It proceeds to walk up and down in the woods, in the forest, whether it is a forest, whether it is a heated up land, whether it is a cement or road. It may be a road, or it may be rough road. Anywhere it is just moving. It may go to the mines, different mines. So many workers work in the mines. Is it easy? In the scorching sun they are working there, they are standing on the feet and moving around. Sometimes they don't have sandals or shoes, these people. Look at their difficulties. Those who are going in the woods, poor people, for their food, in search of food, they are moving around. Some are in the mines working day in and day out. Their foot is in trouble. There the difficulties are found. In markets, some are in the markets just moving around. Look at when the human beings go there with difficulties and try all the difficulties, their foot is with them. It is moving there. And departments, some foot is moving in the different departments. That means those who are working in the departments, they are carrying their foot. They may be a little bit comfortable because they may wear shoes, those who are in the department, or good sandals they may wear, so the foot is comfortable there. Whether the foot of a man or the foot of a woman, it may be a foot of a man or a foot of a woman, it does not have time to love or to sleep until the man is dead. The foot, there is one foot this side, one foot this side, but they don't have time for each other. They are busy, whether it is a foot of a woman, whether it is a foot of a man. Until the person is dead, the foot is busy. The journey of the child's foot is similar to the journey of a human being's life. By and large, one can infer that the poem is basically a criticism of how people force children to grow in society. We want our children to grow in the society and forget all their dreams and imaginations. Isn't it? The child wants to be a butterfly or an apple, but the society is not allowing that. Society is harsh. It doesn't allow the child to become butterfly. Like butterfly, it cannot go anywhere and everywhere, or like an apple, it cannot stay there with the branch. Can the child be with continuously as it grows also with parents only every time? No. Once it grows up, they tell, your studies are over, now you go to work and earn. Otherwise, you cannot live, isn't it? Yeah. So, the child wants to be a butterfly or an apple, but the society is harsh and forces the kid to become a responsible adult. Responsible adult doing responsible adults' deeds or works. All the responsible adults' works the child is expected to do. So, here what we learn, the transition of the child's foot into an adult foot, and then until its death can be studied under 4 stages conveniently. That means under the 4 stages of life, the foot has to grow. First, childhood. Second one, experiencing the reality. What is the experience? That means experience reality, difficulties of life. Then maturity. Because you have to stand on the feet. I told you, one's own feet. Stand on one's own feet. That means you have to stand on your feet and work. So, that maturity. And lastly, death. Fourth is death and rebirth. Death and rebirth. This is what is explained here. The poet is telling, human being's soul is free after a man dies. After a man dies, his soul is free. Nevertheless, during his lifetime, he cannot choose to follow his dreams or desires because he must work hard for his survival and the trials and tribulations of his life. He has to work hard for his trials and tribulations that are part and parcel of life. So, the poet, I tell you, is an excellent writing is this. He is talking about the human life from childhood even till death. Though he has talked about the foot, is talking about the life of a human being. So, we surely have enjoyed this poem. My dear children, prepare well for your second PUC English exams, and not just today you have studied not just for exam, just to understand your own life, how your life is or how my life is, and how our day-to-day life is from childhood till death. So, all the best to you all the exams.